Discovering life's purpose, soul level purpose, and meaning, it's not for the faint hearted. Purpose requires courage. It requires courage. You know, when I was 11 years old, I asked the question, why am I born? What is this all about? It may be a different age for you. And I meet people and I ask them, so they ask me, like, what do you do? And I say, well, I kind of work on helping people or working with people to discover purpose and meaning in their life. What are they here to do in this lifetime? What is their unique expression in this lifetime? And they go, okay, so tell me a bit more. So I say, well, here's a couple of questions if you like to think about it. So first I'm like, as Mary Oliver, the poet, says, what will you do with this one wild and precious life? Or I said, well, here's another one. What is your unique way of loving this world? And you know, the moment I say things like this or ask these questions, people are like, whoa, like, you know, see this sucked in breath and you see like, whoa, I mean, that's a scary one, man. I'm not ready to go there. I'm not ready to ask that question. That's a deep question that requires a lot of effort and stuff. And yes, it does require effort and it requires courage because we're not asking ourselves these questions, right? Or very few of us are asking these questions. And there's something here about what I'd like to talk about, why I'm calling it courage, right? Now, courage cannot exist without the existence of fear. It is the act of facing our fear, of staring fear in the face, of rising up to meet the challenge. That's when we say somebody is courageous. If I'm just sitting around on my couch enjoying life, I'm not really being tested whether I'm courageous or not. Courage is only emerges in the middle of that which everything in you is saying, don't do this. And yet you step up and you do it. Whether it turns out in a certain way or turns out the way you thought it was, which we call success, or the way you didn't think it was, which we call failure, that's irrelevant. The fact that you step up and face it, this is courage, right? And you may or may not know the outcome. That's a different story. But to approach these questions requires courage. What am I here for? Because it requires introspection. It requires you to sit and understand. And the other reason why this feels strange or feels scary is because people say to me, oh, this is such a big question. It's such a deep question. I'm like, it's a very simple question. It's a very easy question. The thing is that we're not asking ourselves this question. So the moment we do something new, it feels big, it feels strange, it feels odd, right? I remember relocating countries. It felt weird. It felt, wow, such a mammoth task. Then I did it again, then I did it again. And when I did it 2 or 3 times, I understood what all goes into moving countries. And it became easier and easier each time. Similarly, you know, just think about it. You're standing, let's assume you've seen hundreds of bungee jump videos, right? Or you've seen hundreds of skydive videos. And there's one part of you that's going, I would never ever do that, right? It's too scary. There's another part of you that's kind of curious that says, ooh, what would it feel like to fly, right? There's this part of you there. At least I talk about myself. Now, let's imagine you're standing at this top of the bungee. You've seen hundreds of videos. You've seen people jump off before you. They're like yelling with glee and coming back up. And all of this is going through your mind and you say, I can do this. And you think, those people did it, I can do it, right? But everything in your body is saying, don't do this. This is a bad idea. This is not a good thing. And then jump, right? Now, whether you enjoy it or don't enjoy it, My point is this: you jumped. That's the place where courage happens. And then, so when I'm talking about purpose, it is asking that question, sitting with that question. That's the place, right? Whether you enjoy it, whether you don't enjoy it, what happens, set that down for a moment and just sit, invite this question and sit with it. Because the truth is, you know what? We are always, most of us, we want to have this perfect plan, perfect blueprint, everything mapped out for us and be like, okay, now I'll take the first step. That's not how life works. Rumi, one of my favorite poetic voices, he says a beautiful quote. He says something like this: we want that path to see, but we're like, where is this path? It's like the path appears when you take the step. So you take the step, then the path begins to emerge, right? It's not the other way around. And I would even go further to say it's impossible. I tell people this again and again. It's impossible to have absolute full certainty of the outcome of anything, right? You step out of your house, you have no clue what's going to happen. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know if the person you're going to meet is going to be delayed by a minute. Are they going to be ahead of you? You don't know these things, right? I don't know these things. So we don't know, but we still take the step to do it. So it's the same thing with purpose. You don't know, but you've got to take that step. And now it's actually easy to not take the step. It's easy to not ask, right? We are so conditioned and used to the easy way. Now, let me explain the easy way to you. The easy way is this: your education system has determined how to evaluate success. You have to get X number of marks, X number of experiments, projects handed in, etc. That means you are successful. You passed this requirement, right? So they have given that to you. Schooling system is the same. You go to work. Goals are given to you by the company. Metrics are given to you by the company, right? Now let's go into society. Society is telling you what should your lifestyle be like, which car is good to drive, what kind of house you need to have, what kind of family structure you need to do, how many vacations you need to do. So all of this is this narrative that's going on around us, right? And the easy thing to do is to say, yeah, I'll just do what they tell me. I mean, this is the goal, I'll get the goal, right? Yes, there's a part of, like I'm part of a company where we also co-create the goal, but the goal has to match with what the company wants to do. It can't be my own goal, right? So there's all this dynamic that's coming in there. So anyway, at the end of the day, the leader of all the leaders is going to decide if your goal that you propose makes sense or not. That's something for a separate post. But now, the point is that this is actually succumbing to the requirements of all that's around us is the path of least resistance in this sense, right? The courage is to ask your own purpose-related questions, set your own goals for your life, and define how you want to measure success for yourself. That's a tougher and a courageous step to take. Now, the interesting thing that happens here is that when we take that path of least resistance, see what's happening to people around the world, right? Either you are in a space, or you and I end up in a space, and I was there too. We are just in hollow busyness. One task to the next task, to the next task, to the next task, and you're like, this feels so hollow, so empty, doesn't even feel authentic to me at all. Or we're getting stressed, and stress comes from only 3 places, and I will do a separate post on that, and how to heal from it. The stress comes only from 3 places: intolerance, fear, anger. These are the only 3 root causes of stress. What causes that fear? When you're stressed, something is either causing you to fear, something is either causing you to get angry, something is causing you to not tolerate what's happening. And if you follow that thread and understand what is it, you'll get a handle on why you're stressed. And persistent stress, recurrent stress, is what's leading to burnout. Now, again, going back, these are all because we decide to take the company's goals, their metrics, etc., etc., etc. Society's norms of what success is and stuff. And we get stressed, we get stressed, we get stressed, and we get burnt out and we get frustrated, right? And so what happens is that we are either hollow busy or we're burnt out. And at the end, there's no meaning. There's no meaning. We're like, what am I doing this all for? And then we wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I've been there, where you go, what is actually happening? And is this all there is, right? Now, I want to stress a bit here further that without purpose, you and I have no authentic agency, none. Where is your agency coming from if you don't have purpose? What is driving you? For what reason you're alive? For what reason am I alive? So by discovering our soul level purpose, we get agency, authentic agency, not someone else putting something on you, authentic agency. Yes, you take that and you see how to merge it with the rest of the world. We'll come to that a little bit later in this talk. Now, you can do authentic agency, or you can toe a line that someone else is pulling, right? And be subject to whatever the outcomes of that is. Now, Carl Jung, a beautiful psychologist, called this entire process of purpose discovery individuation. Individuation, right? So this is the lifelong journey of becoming yourself. And I argue that one of the reasons that you're here and I am here on this planet in this lifetime is to discover, who am I? What am I here for? And then to bring those gifts out and bless the rest of humanity with it, right? But if we don't do that, we will be what's the word? We will be kind of lost in the illusions of trying to be someone who we're not. And then all that frustration and everything that comes along with it, right? Now, so this is not a version that's shaped by expectations of somebody and approval of somebody, or even just bare survival. This is basically, Carl Jung said that the psyche is always longing, the soul is always longing to be its original wholeness, right? And it's always going to keep asking you and keep questioning you and pushing you in that direction, nudging you in that direction. And the greatest courage a human being can exercise is to follow that movement honestly, even into the uncomfortable parts. And Carl Jung puts it in a beautiful way like this. He says, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That's a privilege. And privilege requires courage to take that step. Now, this space is also where purpose is hiding. It's a treasure. It's like the carbon that's under pressure that becomes that diamond. It's like the pearl that's has the grain of sand in it that's rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and then it becomes the pearl, right? You get the pearl at the end. So it's this, that's the process of it. And it's an evolutionary process. And that's what I want to say, that purpose, it's not something that you find your entire blueprint in one go, one insight, and you're like, oh yeah, I've got it, it's clear. I just go and this is all I'm going to do. No, it's an evolutionary process. It's a little by little, it unravels. Because remember, you take the step, then the path appears. You take the step, then the path appears, right? So it's unfolding. It's unfolding slowly and slowly as you go. And when you practice all of the pointers that the soul is bringing to you, you practice that into existence little by little. I liken it unto like a musician trying to learn a song, right? So I play the guitar quite all right. But I remember when I started to learn, I used to look at these musicians and go, oh my God, they're playing so well. They play an entire song from end to end. And I was, twanging a string, and it was not even, I couldn't even put enough pressure on the string to make the sound emit. It was kind of a blunt sound that was coming out. I was like, how am I even going to do this? But I showed up every day, every moment, and I kept at it. And finally, I could play the piece that they were playing. And finally, at one point, even I was teaching others. So the point is this, right? Just as a musician, you're not going to get it overnight. You're going to try. You're going to see what's your style. You're going to see how you hold the guitar, etc., etc. And you see these different musicians who play different ways, right? They're all playing similar things. But now what happens is that you It's the consistency and your courage to pursue that is actually compounding over time. And then, all of this, this myth that we've been sold of this overnight stuff, right? Please, I implore, ignore all of that rubbish, because there is nothing called overnight. Everything is a sequence of events that takes place, right? A collection of events that takes place. And now, here also I want to encourage us that, as Nelson Mandela says, and I love the statement of his, I never fail, I only learn. So each of these experiments you do as you pursue purpose, as you ask these questions, that itself is an experiment, asking that question. And the experiment, when we say an experiment doesn't work, it's basically giving us a feedback on what our perceived outcome was and what the actual outcome becomes, right? So use that as data, rich data to learn from. And similarly, you can use that to pivot. And every pivot is a progress. And you say, okay, maybe not this. Okay, maybe that way. Maybe this way. And what happens, the beautiful thing is that as you find and discover your purpose, as I find and discover my purpose and start to live it, and you start to live it, and someone else starts to live it, now we start practicing our instruments in different ways. And then when you come together, you find the orchestra. And the orchestra produces the symphony of music. Now, this is where we can go towards, right? Where we complement each other and we can play together. And your original unique composition can be something that nobody else in the world. I love what Naval Ravikant says. I've probably said it hundreds of times, but I'll say it again. The only thing that nobody can do better at or beat you at is being you. Only you are the best at being you. So why not be you and forget about everyone else, right? But that you question is found in the authentic purpose. And it takes courage to say, who am I? And step forward and start to pursue that and ask those questions. What do I want to do with this precious life? How do I want to live this life, right? And what I would just leave you with here at this point is an invitation to a question, right? And a friend asked me this, and I've made some time ago, and it made me think for some time. And now I will ask this again in a different way, right? Think about this, maybe write it down, mull it over, sit with your soul and see what emerges. Here's the question. If money and time were not a constraint at all, imagine they are no constraint, what would you build? And let me stretch us here. Let me be magnanimous here. Not what would you build for yourself, primarily. What would you build for humanity? What problem would you try to solve? What problem is burning in your depths that you want to solve? You know that's yours to go and solve. What gift or gifts would you offer the world, imagining that money and time are not a constraint? Try this, experiment it, do it for a couple of days, revisit it again and again, and see what happens. And let me be clear here. I'm not asking you quit your job, upend your life, move to Portugal. I'm not asking you to do that. But I'm asking you to be honest. Take a moment of honesty. Take a moment of courage. Rise up in courage, maybe for the first time, and meet what is actually alive in you. This honesty takes courage. And courage is exactly where purpose begins. So I will say again, as I usually say, your soul is waiting. It's your move. And well, if you want to connect for more, I host a monthly free introduction to purpose discovery. It's a 90-minute online session. If you're in Luxembourg or passing through Luxembourg, I'm happy to meet you in person and we can talk about it. But basically giving you an overview of what is this purpose discovery journey all about. I've been trained on how to create a framework, a structure, so that you can walk through it and you don't have to kind of search for it for yourself. Similarly, if you are in Luxembourg, or if you're passing through Luxembourg and you happen to want to join an in-person session, I do a free fortnightly connect with people who are looking for meaning and purpose, who know there's more to this life and are trying to understand the ways to navigate it. Again, it's free. It's a community that we're building here in Luxembourg. I'll put all the details in the link below, or you can find it on my link tree. And again, for this one, I would say if you're in Luxembourg, please, you can sign up. If you're not in Luxembourg, I mean, you're welcome to join the WhatsApp group, but it's probably not going to be as beneficial to you because all the events are going to take place here, and a lot of the information is going to be very relevant, kind of to local stuff that's happening. Again, if you want to join it and you feel I want to be blessed by whatever's happening and I'm curious, please, by all means, you're more than welcome to join. Right, I'll stop here and leave it for today. Have a fantastic day. Be well. Be courageous. And namaste.